Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Game. As we all know, the Beijing Olympic Game is coming to an end, and we can safely say that this Olympic Game is a successful event in terms of safety, in terms of commercial benefits, in terms of the audience attending rate. It is nothing but success. If we compare this to the recent Tokyo Olympic game, I shall not be shy to say that China Winter Olympic Game is doing much better than the Tokyo Olympic Game. Why? It showcases the Chinese government's capability to conduct such an important, high-profile international event while still ensuring the safety of Chinese people as well as the foreign athletes and foreign visitors. It is remarkable in today's world, which is very affected by the current COVID-19 pandemic. But still, I can see in the Western media, especially the mainstream media, the angles, the perspective they choose to report stories of 2022 Olympic Games is peculiar, is strange, and lots of time it is reporting falsehood, completely false information. For example, it says the food provided to the athletes are below standard, but in fact, we all know and convinced and proved by lots of athletes who participated in this event. In the Olympic Village, in the food hall, there were more than 600 courses to choose from. It offers a wide spread of cuisine from Western to Asia to Middle East, and it's in buffet style. There's no shortage of food and no shortage of choices. So I don't know where this accusation of bad food is coming from. Another example is reporting that the snow skiing field is built next to a nuclear reactor. That's completely not true as well. As we all know, in Beijing there's no nuclear reactor station, there's no nuclear power stations in Beijing. The large chimneys they observe, which is near to the skiing field, is actually from steel plants, so-called Beijing steel plants, and this particular steel plant has long since stopped operation, and the former factory has been turned into a so-called some office complex, and these two chimney pieces are nothing but relics of former industrialization in Beijing. So this is another falsehood reported by the news. And there were some athletes, after going back to their own country, they will say things like, two of them actually, one in Sweden and one in Germany. I think both of them have clinched gold medal or something. They achieved good results in the competition, and they received good hospitality from Beijing people. But after going back to their own country, they say some very nasty things against this event. For example, the Sweden athlete commented that it is a mistake that to let Beijing to hold this 2022 Winter Olympic Games on the ground of human rights abuse. This is as absurd as this is very absurd accusation. I think probably he drawn this from the ground, some Uyghur massacre, those kind of propaganda, which is pumped up by the United States. I don't know whether he truly believes in what he said, but this kind of words is disgusting, and it reflects how low a person can be, because there's a saying, I think in the Western side there must be a similar saying: you do not buy the hands that feeding you, right? You went to Beijing, you accommodated in the 5-star Winter Olympic Village. Truly, the accommodation facilities are built according to a 5-star hotel, and the staff in the Olympic Village, like they carry the Chinese tradition of being a good host to our guests. They received a good welcome, warm reception, good food, first-class facility, and this allows him to attain the gold medals. If you are in a depressed state, if you are suffering from some maltreatment, how can you do well in your competition? How can you be able to clinch 2 gold medals while under some kind of mental suffering? This is bizarre. So it reflects the nasty side, so the awkward side of this particular Sweden athlete. He do not know how to return a favor, and he don't know how to be appreciative. Most likely, he said this kind of statement is because the person who sponsored him, they have some special political interest to blackmail China no matter what. So I completely ignore this as a falsehood, and I would say it completely destroyed his image to me as an Olympic gold medalist. I despise him on moral grounds. There is another athlete, a German athlete, claims that she will never go to China again. How interesting. As if we care about his coming anyway. So I think she also did well in the 2022 Olympic Games, and similar to that Sweden guy, I would ask the same question. If you are suffering anything, how are you being able to do that good in the competition? The Chinese people, the Beijing people, will come to you, give you good food, good room, good service, carefree environment, safe environment, allows you to do well in the competition, and this is what they get from you. You are such a nasty person. I do not say they represent a whole from the Western athletes who participated in Winter Olympic Games. There's always one or two sour grapes, but in today's environment, I would say there could be more. And why? Because there is a propaganda war conducted by the West towards China, spreading false information, and some are purely fabricated and some are distorted. For example, the Uyghur massacre problem. All those Western journalists who report or doing kind of analysis on this issue, they have something in common. They have never stepped their foot on the Xinjiang province, not even once. There were some interesting things in those kind of reporting. Basic facts are wrong. They mistook or they purposely mistake the school buildings as concentration camp, and they reported those trainings provided by Chinese government towards the Uyghur people to train them with essential skills so that they can make their own living, a decent living. Those training facilities, they describe it as prisons, and the students in these training facilities as the prisoners, which is of course all lies, lies after lies. And the Uyghur issue is only one of the tricks the Western media use against China. They have many other tricks, like the Hong Kong protest, like the so-called human rights abuse. Most of these things are purposely fabricated to deface the image of China, because the Western, especially the United States, is not able to stop China from rising militarily, economically. So it is trying to do to contain the China, to blackmail China via the media. Insofar they still control much of the mainstream media, so they saw it as a smart power, as a soft power, and with this they believe they can somewhat influence China people. If they cannot influence China people, they can influence the people around China to think negatively towards China government, towards Chinese people. But I think they will do so, their purpose or their efforts are in vain, because Chinese civilization has a long history, 5,000 years of history. So Chinese people are naturally sophisticated people. They are not easily influenced or will simply be influenced by those Western propaganda. They have their own judgment. Most of them can think independently. So this, as of now, this propaganda war has achieved very little in influencing Chinese people. And now I think the most focus is put to influence other people in the world, to influence their opinion towards China. Well, it might work to some extent, but I believe with the passing of time, when people know more about China, the more they know about China, the less they will believe in those Western propaganda. And I hope one day we will all be able to think independently and to make judgment fairly towards Chinese people and the Chinese government. Thank you.